Hi, guys. My name is Joe, and this is Tangent Tuesday, where I pick a topic and I riff on it. And this week is going to be easy because I will be showing you the books that I recently bought, and you guys can suggest to me which one of those I should do first. And also, I'm going to show you Benny. Hello, Benny. So, for some of you, this may seem a bit like deja vu. Sorry, buddy, you got to go. Because I did something similar to this last month, that was more look at these books I bought in celebration of my birthday. This is more of a concerted effort to collect certain texts. Um, yeah. So last month, when I did that video, I got a comment on YouTube and a comment on Facebook suggesting that from that group, I review Martial Arts of Ancient Greece. So I am currently reading this, and a review for this will be upcoming. Similarly, I also did had a survey that I put out last month where I gave you guys a choice between 5 different martial arts books or 5 different Aikido books specifically, and I was like, "Hey guys, vote for one of these." And 2 people voted, and they were each for something different. So the way I'm going to handle that is I am going to review, when the time comes, these 2 books. This is Aikido, the Basics, and Aikido, Techniques and Tactics. So I'm going to review both of them. Well, yeah, record a video to review each of them in turn. And then I'm just going to flip a coin to see which one goes first. And then probably within a couple of weeks of that, because I got a thing in my head where I don't like reviewing the same type of book back to back on 2 consecutive weeks, but within 2 or 3 weeks, the other one will come out, and I will keep you guys posted on that. So, as you can probably surmise, because of those things and also tonight's topics, I'm trying to do a better job of taking your suggestions and turning them into book reviews. And to that end, for instance, on a previous video, I had someone speak up about a book that I was showing off, which was on grappling and taekwondo. I have completed recording the review. That will be in the editing process. Probably not this week, but the next coming weeks. I'm also reading a book called Mind Gym. That's GYM. It's about sports psychology. It is taking a little bit longer because it's in a different format than most of the instructionals that I review. But I'm on top of that one. So if you're keeping count, that's 4 books that I'm currently reading for the purpose of creating book reviews. And just to keep you guys posted as to what's going on, I also have either created outlines or recorded footage for reviews on Masaki Hatsumi's stick fighting book, Rocky Marciano's boxing book, Burton Richardson's book, Silat for the Street, a book on Greco-Roman wrestling, the Olympic style, a book on Wing Chun Kung Fu by one of Bruce Lee's Wing Chun students. So that's going to be interesting. A couple of books on the use of traditional jiu-jitsu in self-defense, a book on judo groundwork from the 1950s. And I know I'm leaving some stuff out. It's a lot. So I am trying to get to as many of these as I can. And, those are the books that are coming up. And right before we get to the ones that I'm featuring tonight, I will say that I have some books that I have sort of taken off the table from being recommended for review. And that's because, well, I have various reasons for it. I'll get to those at the end of the video. But for now, let me get to the books that I am sharing with you and that you guys can suggest that I review. So this is Chongji of Taekwondo Hyung by Mr. Goju-Ryu. He's commonly known as the father of Taekwondo in the United States. So this is actually the first in a series of books, but I had already had the other books. As a bit of a heads up, I will review all of those in a single review because frankly, they get sort of repetitive. You know, I don't want to do a review where I'm like, hey, remember the last time I reviewed one of these? It's the same except different names of forms. But you know, that's how it's going to go down. I'm going to review the whole thing all at once. And I think it's like 4 other books. So suggest that one if you're interested in that one, and also the other books on the Taekwondo forums. Savate, Assault and Combat. Spelled like assault, except without the L. I am excited about this because, okay, I have 2 Savate books that are on hardcover. One is completely in French. I can't read it. I can read bits and pieces of it. I have a French to English dictionary, but it will never be up for review because I cannot read it in the same fashion that I read all these other things because I'm not fluent in French. Moreover, I think that most of my audience probably speaks English as a first language, so it probably wouldn't be of a whole lot of help to you guys. The other book I have, which is actually, now that I think about it, another one that I have recorded a review for, is Bruce Tegner's Savate book, which is a little suspect. But this one, several black and white illustrations. We're looking at different exercises, different combinations, different partner drills. I'm very excited about it. It's just under 300 pages long. So that'll be cool. The kata, whoop, glare off of the light. The kata and bunkai of Goju-Ryu karate. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. So bunkai, for those who are unfamiliar, the kata is the form. Bunkai is, strictly speaking, it means to break down, but it's often used to refer to the application of the forms. I got it because I do not come from a Goju-Ryu background. I've studied some of the kata. I've taken about 6 months of Goju, but you know, it's not in my bones, right? Like I haven't practiced it enough so that it's like in here, right? So I'm hoping that this will get me acquainted with a system I am not all that familiar with, and in particular, the practical application of the movements therein. That tends to be my focus when it comes to forms these days. The Kempo Karate Compendium. Subtitle, Forms and Sets of American Kempo. Kenpo. This is pretty much what it says. It's a lot like the last book, except it's for Kenpo. This goes over the forms and sets. For those who don't know, sets tend to be similar to forms, but they are much more compact, and they tend to focus on developing certain skills or cataloging certain techniques. So I know in Kempo, there's a kicking form, and there's like a form for like the different finger strikes that they use, like, you know, the raking and the poking and all that. So this will go over all those things, and by flipping through it, seems like it will focus on the details about, you know, the important aspects, some of the applications as well. And I don't have a whole lot on Kenpo. So that's another reason I got this. This one is exciting. Who wrote the Tao? Okay, Harper. Harper's one of my kitties. Harper needs to go mind her own business. Bye, baby. Okay. So for those who don't know, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do was not written by Bruce Lee. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do was written posthumously. He died, and a couple years later, they wound up printing out a collection of his notes and some of his illustrations. And the thing was, because this was not something that he was creating to be put out, most of the information therein is him paraphrasing other sources. And this book, I think they say they have, identifies sources for approximately 85% of the content of the Tao Jeet Kune Do. So this is great from a reference standpoint, in that, you can use it concurrently with reading the Tao to go, oh, this passage comes from this book, and so on. I'm a little reluctant to do a book that analyzes the Tao of Jeet Kune Do before I have actually reviewed the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. But, okay, baby. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Settle down. I think if enough people vote for this one, what I will probably do is do a review of the Tao of Jeet Kune Do a week before I release a review of this book. But I am very excited about it. The Art and Science of Self-Defense by Joe Verde. I got this one pretty much because I have two of his other works. He has a book on stick fighting and a book on staff fighting. And they are done in a progressive manner so that as a beginner, you can pick up those books and it will be divided into different parts. Like, okay, these are the fundamentals that I need to know. And then, it'll build off of it on the next chapter. He aims to do that with self-defense in this one. I believe the first parts of it deal not so much with like the physical side, with like punches and throws and stuff like that. It's more about things like, awareness and de-escalating. So, yeah, that is that one. Art and Science of Self-Defense, Joe Verde. The Northern Shaolin Sword. So this is by Dr. Yang Ming. I actually have quite a few of his books. He mostly seems to specialize in Tai Chi, but he does a little bit with like Northern Shaolin too. This includes solo forms, possibly two-person forms. It shows shows applications. Yeah, there's some two-person forms in here as well. And it's for the Jian, which is the Chinese straight double-edged sword. So that's another one. Aiki Jujutsu, mixed martial art of the samurai. All right. I must confess I take a little bit of issue with the title. Okay, guys. The term mixed martial arts was created for events like the UFC and, at that time, Extreme Fighting Championships and all those other events. Anything that doesn't directly deal with something like that includes mixed martial arts in the title, I think is being a little bit try hard. That's my personal bias. It's definitely going to get people's attention, but also it's not really MMA. But this seems to cover more than one art, because there is a jujutsu segment, but there's also like a Kempo segment. Yeah. Fukasu-ryu Kempo Jutsu. So this actually seems like it covers more than one system. Got color photos. And I've actually had my eye on this one for a while. Glad I picked it up. Black Belt Krav Maga. So this is by Krav Maga Worldwide. If you guys recall, I did a review of Complete Krav Maga, where it was organized by the qualifications for their belt ranking system. This is the black belt stuff. So, yeah. Oh, it's got how to defend yourself while in a car, among other things. So, yeah, that is that book. Encyclopedia of Shorin-Ryu Karate. So this is 3 volumes. I will be reviewing them all at once. The last 2 volumes are on kata, and the first one is I guess pretty much just an overview. So this is on Shorin-Ryu, as it says, which is, yeah, this is a good overview. Technical section. Are these in color? Yeah, there's a few in color here. So this is on an Okinawan style of karate. Medieval sword and buckler combat. So this is on, well, what it says, medieval sword and buckler combat. A buckler, for those who are unfamiliar, is a small shield. Like, it's just to be like yay big, and it's usually held at the at length at the end of the arm, as opposed to a shield that's like strapped against the forearm and held close to the body. This author draws from a number of sources, including Talhofer, whose name some of you might recognize. It says it's book 3 in a series. I am not. I don't know if I'm going to get all the books in this series, so I'm going to treat this as a standalone. So that's another one. Ooh. Basic Principles of Tuite. So this is on another Okinawan martial arts. Also more color photos. Tuite, as I understand it, and as it seems to be presented here, is basically, if you guys are familiar with Qinna or Qinna from Chinese martial arts, it is the art of locking and seizing. This seems to be upright grappling in the form primarily of joint locks, but it's Okinawan. The Fighting Gladiator. This is by Dwight McLemore, who unfortunately passed away only a few years ago. He does his own illustrations, I believe. Let's see. What this book seems to be doing, there were many types of gladiators. Like, some of the more famous imagery is, there's a guy who has a trident and a net. He's a specific type of gladiator. And it seems like what this book does is examines the different types of gladiators, and it gives each one their own chapter and looks into their fighting styles. So I'm familiar with some of his other work. I have books of his on staff, kukri, and tomahawk. And his background, I think, was primarily Filipino martial arts. So he takes that and tries to recreate these fighting systems, taking a look at their weapons and exploring it from his perspective of this is how, the style that I'm familiar with would fight under these circumstances. Hapkido. This is by Mark Tedeschi. I actually have a number of his books. He created a series of books that I refer to as the Art of Books. So it's like Art of Striking, Art of Holding. This is not part of that series, but it is, as you might be able to tell, on Hapkido. And it seems about as thorough as his other books. So, yeah, in-depth look at Hapkido. Whew. Training and conditioning for MMA. Programming of champions? Okay. I have to admit, I'm a little intimidated by this. This has got some science behind it, and I almost feel like I should probably take some undergraduate classes in strength and conditioning before I try to review this book. But if I do need to educate myself further, I will. But the book is here for review, and it's pretty much what it says on the box. It's a scientific approach to training for the sport of mixed martial arts. Yeah, it goes like really in depth. You can see how large it is. It's over 400 pages. Ooh, color photos. Again, love color photos. So that concludes the portion of the books that I will be taking recommendations on, if any of those stand out to you and you would like to see me review them. Now for the rest. Okay. Best Karate. These are several books in the series. I have the other ones, so this is another instance where it completes my series. These are not up for review because I'm already in the middle of 3 martial arts book series right now as far as my review process. Let me take care of this. These are on Shotokan Karate. But yeah, I'm in the middle of 3 book reviews right now, or book series to review. That is the Bruce Lee's Fighting Method series. I have 1 more book in that. That one's almost done. Jeff Thompson's Real series. Got 2 more books in that. And then Mark Hatmaker's No Holds Barred series. He's got a number of books. I'm not sure if he intended to make some of them like a full series, but all of these say No Holds Barred before the subtitle. So anyway, I got 5 more of those left. And again, in my mind, it's like, okay, you're already doing 3 of them. Don't start on another one. I will say when I finish one of those, again, it will probably be the Bruce Lee's Fighting Method series, probably by the end of spring next year. After I get done with one of those series, I will put out another poll for you guys so you can let me know, which of these following book series would you like me to review. I don't know if this is going to be on there. It might be, but I looked it up and I have a total of 19 books that I put into various series. This one, when I review it, I will probably put it into chunks. So like the first 2 are basically on fundamentals. That's followed by 2 books on kumite. I think it would make sense to review those both together. And then the rest are on forms. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, when you have consecutive books on forms, it does tend to get a bit repetitive. I don't know if I will do all of those at once, or maybe I'll split them up into 2 or 3, subgroups or whatever. But bear in mind, when I do review this, it will be in chunks, at least 3. But like I said, that's off the table for now. Another book that is off the table, Hooker. This is by Luthez. So Luthez was an old school wrestler. The term hooker in professional wrestling refers to someone who knows hooks or submissions. Um, I'm going to have to read through the book before I even decide if it should be put out there. The main reason I'm not putting it up for review at this time is because it's an autobiography and it's giant, it's thick. It would require a lot of reading. As I mentioned at the top of this, I'm already reading like 4 books specifically for review on here. I'm also reading like 2 other books just because I want to read them. So I'm busy. I would not have time to review this. I will say I may not keep it in. What I'm hoping for is a book that talks about like old school catch wrestling training and things related to that. If this happens to be more focused on kayfabe, which is professional wrestling parlance for like, the illusion, like, kayfabe, I can knock somebody over by holding my arm out straight and letting them run at it, right? If it seems to be more in that tone, or if it doesn't address the things that I hope it addresses, I will probably not keep it in the Marshall Library, but because right now I'm super hopeful that it does have more to do with that sort of thing, I'm keeping it in. So we'll see. Karate Uchi na Di. This is gigantic. This is, God, over 500 pages, huh? I was looking forward to this when the author was talking about it on Facebook. I'm hyped that I got it. The issue is, again, it is gigantic. I'm in the middle of, reading a total of 6 other books right now, and I would not have the time to get around to this. I'm excited to. This is on the origins and evolution, including history, methodology, culture, philosophy, ethics, legacy. It has so much stuff about Okinawan karate, but again, it's huge. I'm in the middle of doing other stuff. This one will not be up for review for a while, but again, I'm super excited about it. And finally, Modern Tatib. This one's not up for review because I already reviewed it. Again, primarily because one of my followers on Instagram, who I actually know in real life, I posted about this when I got it because, again, I was excited. I don't have a book on stick fighting from Egypt, right? Now I do. So because I posted that, she responded with, I can't wait for the review. So I decided to sort of push this up a little bit and review it earlier than I would have. So those are all the new books that I got, not including the other video talking about all the new books that I got that I put out last month. Yeah, if any of these stand out to you, please let me know. I'm all about you guys letting me know what books you want me to review. And yeah, thank you for sticking with me. And let me know if you want any of these, and I will review them. And that's all I have for this month. So got another video coming out Fridays as normal. On next Monday will be my second Media Fight Monday of the month. This one is going to be from the Vanishing Sun TV movie, and it's a fight that I really like. So stay tuned for that one. So see you later, guys.